Close your eyes, dear listener. Breathe softly and let the centuries fall away, past the noise of cities, past the pages of empire, to a place where marble caught the light, and power whispered not in war cries, but in the hush of a woman's counsel. Tonight, we journey to ancient Rome, and we meet a woman both feared and forgotten. Her name was Livia. It is 58 BCE. The streets of Rome hum with tension. Senators in white togas stride beneath columns of marble and power. Vendors call out from stalls of olives, garum and honeyed wine. And behind shaded porticos, deals are made and futures undone. This is a Rome on the edge. The Republic is crumbling. Civil wars whisper from the shadows, and yet, in a fine domus near the Palatine Hill, a baby girl is born. Her name, Livia Drusilla. Livia came from an old and noble family, the Livii Drusi, proud and patrician. Her father, Marcus Livius Drusus Claudianus, was steeped in politics, a follower of republican ideals. But Livia, she would grow into something far more enduring than a cause. In her early years, she walked barefoot through mosaic-floored courtyards. She listened quietly as her father debated laws over fig wine. She learned early how power dressed in dignity and smiled through silence. The Roman matron was expected to be chaste, loyal, obedient. But within those bounds was room to shape the very bones of empire. Roman women couldn't vote. They held no office, and yet they managed estates, arranged marriages, and influenced politics from behind veils of modesty and grace. Elite girls like Livia were often married by their teens. They learned not in public schools, but from private tutors, if they were lucky. They read Livy, recited Virgil, and traced family trees with pride. But Livia would one day counsel emperors, whisper in the ears of generals. She would outlive the Republic and help build the empire. Can you smell it? A Roman breakfast was simple. Bread dipped in wine or honey. By noon, perhaps lentils and onions. And at cena, the evening meal, platters of roasted meats, spiced garum and baked fruit filled the air. In the home of the Livii, Livia would have reclined beside her husband, but her mind was always upright, alert. Politics flowed through Rome like wine through amphorae, and though she seemed only to pour drinks and smile, she was watching, listening, waiting. So now, dear listener, let the city fade to silence. Let the torches burn low. Let the domes of Rome sleep under the velvet sky. Livia is still a girl, but within her rests a mind as sharp as Caesar's sword, and a destiny wrapped in silk and steel. Before she was empress, before she shaped an empire with a word and a glance, Livia was a child, and every empress is once a girl who listened. Livia was born into Stormlight. The late Republic, noble and cracking, shaped her world. She learned early that safety was not promised, even to the daughters of old names. When her father took sides in the civil wars, Livia watched soldiers eat from her mother's kitchen. She saw the fear in her nursemaid's eyes, even when the music played. And though she said little, she remembered everything. Unlike most Roman girls, Livia was taught to write, not just her name, but laws, letters, The words of Cicero and Livy whispered through her thoughts. She learned how to weigh an argument, how to recite a lineage, how to read between the lines of what was said and what was not. Her tutor once remarked, "She is not fast, but she is precise." And in Roman politics, precision is survival. Her mother taught her the rest. In the gardens of their villa, among olives and curling vines, Livia learned the politics of the private world, how to greet a senator's wife with equal deference and gentle superiority, how to manage a household without ever raising her voice. There is a story that one day a guest insulted her family's fading influence. Livia, no older than 12, politely corrected his understanding of the law. He never insulted them again. By 14, Livia was ready for marriage. Ready, not by choice, but by training. For Roman girls, marriage was not a joining of hearts, but a joining of bloodlines, alliances, and fortunes. She was wed first to Tiberius Claudius Nero, an older cousin aligned with the Republic's fading hopes. Together they would flee from Octavian, raise a son called Tiberius, and find themselves again at Rome's gates. But that is for another night. So now, let the lanterns dim. Let the stars settle over tiled rooftops and silent hills. Let the night cradle the girl who learned to listen, to learn, to wait, to endure. The Livia history remembers, was born in shadows and shaped by silence. Let the day fade. Let your thoughts walk ancient roads. And tonight, let us rise with Livia. Not as the young girl beneath the grapevines, but as the woman who walks through marble halls, the quiet thunder behind the Roman throne. She is no longer learning. Now, she is leading. Dawn brushes Rome in gold. In the atrium of her domus, Livia's day begins not with fanfare, but with ritual. She rises early, her hair coiled like laurel wreaths, her stola, pure white linen edged in purple, symbol of her status as Augusta, wife of the first emperor. She watches quietly from her window, as servants light oil lamps, sweep the mosaic floor, and prepare the morning offerings. She walks barefoot to the household shrine. There, the Laras, the family spirits, stand waiting. Livia places figs and incense at their feet, whispers a prayer for balance, health, and Rome's eternal flame. This is not empty ritual. This is power, wrapped in peace. For in the Roman world, the home is the first state, and she rules hers as one might rule an empire. Later, in her private study, she sits beside a scribe. Dictating with precision, she answers letters from governors, sends instructions to temple builders, and reviews reports from her estates. Though women held no formal office, Livia's hand was in nearly every major decision. Even Augustus himself, the Emperor of Peace, trusted her judgment above all. And the ring beside her scrolls? It bore the seal of the Imperial house. When she appears in public, it is rare and unforgettable. Clad in a veil that drapes like moonlight, she walks through the forum with poise, never haste. Vendors quiet as she passes. Children bow their heads. She does not speak. She does not need to. Livia is not empress by title. She is empress by presence. And when she offers coin to the Temple of Concordia, the priest bows deeper than to senators. And at night, When the marble halls grow still, Livia returns to her garden. She sits beside a fountain where stars ripple gently. Her day has shaped policy, ritual, and the very image of Roman virtue. But now, she is just a woman, remembering, waiting. She has watched empires rise. She has buried enemies and husbands. And tomorrow, she will rise again. Let your breath slow. Let your body soften like the quiet stones of her villa. Livia's power did not roar. It whispered, and still, Rome listened. The sun sets on marble walls. The forum grows quiet. And a woman, once the heart behind the throne, now becomes a statue in memory. Tonight, we walk with Livia not through crowded halls, but through time itself, through the echoes she left behind, in lore, in lineage, and in legend. She is no longer the girl in the garden. She is no longer the empress at dawn. She is eternal. Livia Drusilla died in 29 CE. She had outlived her husband Augustus by 15 years. She had buried her enemies, rivals, even her son. She had become the shadow behind emperors. Augustus once called her light of my life, but at his death, the Senate hesitated to honor her. It was not until her grandson, Claudius, became emperor that the title long denied her was given. Augusta, deified, worshipped. In Rome, she became a goddess. Livia's legacy is not carved in conquest, but in continuity. She helped shape Rome's first imperial dynasty. Julio-Claudian blood flows through her veins. She supported moral reforms, funded temples, founded foundations that aided Roman matrons in need. Some say she manipulated succession, that she orchestrated the deaths of those who stood in her son's way. Tiberius himself died estranged from her memory. But truth in Rome was always a mirror, polished by poets, cracked by politics. In time, her story faded. Male historians whispered of poison, of plots. Tacitus painted her as cold, ruthless, spectral. The empire she helped birth became the beast she was blamed for. The irony. Her power lay in restraint, her brilliance, in knowing when not to speak. And so, she vanished from textbooks, relegated to the margins of marble. But memory, like Rome, never truly dies. Today, her name is rising again. Archaeologists find her likeness on coins. Museums place her statues next to emperors. Classic students whisper of her strategy, her vision, her impossible dance through a world that gave her no throne. Yet let her crown a civilization. In some universities, scholarships bear her name. In novels and documentaries, she walks again. And in your dreams, dear listener, she does not whisper. She watches. Let the stars rise now over pillars and pines. Let the wind hush the hills. There, beneath a Roman sky, the marble glows. And Livia stands, no longer veiled, no longer silent. She was the matron of the empire, the mother of emperors, the woman who shaped Rome, with no sword, no title, just time. Sleep now, with her presence at your side. For in every empire built on quiet strength, she still walks